Night City is home to countless different cars. They come in all shapes and sizes, from compact econo boxes to six-wheeled land yachts to multi-ton cargo haulers. In this series, I'm going to discuss the different makes and models that you can find swarming around Night City. There's only one place where I can start, and that's a brand that stands above the rest. Its cars are legend, and its name carries what's left of America's car manufacturing history. It stood up to the Chinese and Japanese behemoths that dominated the American sports vehicle market, and its name became synonymous with speed, aesthetics, and American resilience. QUADRA Motors manufactures some of the most iconic cars in Night City. The thing that makes QUADRA stand out most is its devotion to paying homage to the most legendary cars of the past. All of QUADRA's models are like street weapons, constructed using the forgotten shards of automotive legends. Their edges are honed using the most recognizable lines of cars past, and their presence goes unmatched, driving down the streets of Night City or over the dunes of the Badlands. The Type 66 is QUADRA's most conventional entry into the American sports car market. Originally released in 2055, the Type 66 was quickly adopted by edge runners and illegal street racers. For the NCPD, a Type 66 tearing up the streets means a long list of traffic violations, but rarely has a patrol car ever managed, or even tried, to pull one over. In my opinion, the Type 66 is the most attractive car that was made for Cyberpunk 2077. Its long, sleek lines evoke the shape of an early 70s fastback Mustang. It handles with an oversteering snappiness that can sometimes get you into trouble, and it always manages to steal the spotlight from any of the other cars that are on the road. The Type 66 comes in two trims, the 640 TS and the 680 TS. The 640 is relatively sleek. The 680, however, enjoys a boost in horsepower and some small aesthetic changes, including a low-profile ram air hood scoop, and what I consider the best exhaust note from the three production models. The third production variant of the Type 66 is called the Avenger. The Avenger is an upgraded performance variant. Think something like the Shelby GT500. It's closer to its own model than one of the base trims. It has an aggressive wide-body kit with large fender flares and lots of sharp lines. This variant looks mean and modified compared to the tamer base models. It also sports a slightly raspier exhaust note and backfire through its rear exit quad exhaust. All three models feature a similar, very driver-oriented interior with a futuristic-looking steering yoke instead of a steering wheel. The unique variants of the Type 66 are some of the most recognizable cars in the game. There are two attainable Nomad variants, the Wingate and the Javelina. The Gen Rowley is a nod to the Dukes of Hazzard Dodge Charger. Their car was famously called the General Lee, and if you say General Lee in just a thick enough southern accent, then you'll understand the name. The Type 66 Bullet is a dark green 640 TS and is an homage to the 1968 Steve McQueen film of the same name. The Cthulhu is a modified 680 TS that can be obtained from the street racing quest line with Claire Williams. The last variant of this car is the Type 66 Hoon. This car is based on the designs of the late rally driver Ken Block. It's a Nomad-style all-wheel drive Type 66 which is weaponized. The livery features Ken Block's iconic number 43 and a color scheme similar to that seen on his Hoonicorn Mustang and some of his Ford World Rally Championship cars. It also features unusually strong drifting mechanics as an homage to Ken Block's famous driving style. The Type 66 is Cyberpunk's most diverse vehicle, and for me, it's the best example of a sleek American muscle car. This is no surprise because I'm a Mustang fan and the Type 66 borrows heavily from Mustang styling, and possibly even that of the Aston Martin V8 Vantage Volante. Regardless, it has its own beautiful, sleek design and an indisputably striking presence. The Quadra Sport R7 borrows its lines from classic cars of Dodge and Plymouth. Its long sloping body evokes the shape of the early Dodge Charger. Its front grille, full of vertical teeth, calls back to the predator-like mouth of the Plymouth Barracuda. The Sport R7 carries the most weight down the road of all Quadra's cars. It sports a slow and spongy suspension, truly giving it the feel of a classic muscle car. The responses are slow and muted, until you step on the gas. The R7 may look like a boat on wheels, but it has no shortage of speed or acceleration. And while the handling is spongy, it has a certain degree of old-world forgiveness, which is a virtue in a city where everything is made up of sharp edges. The R7 has two factory trims, the 540 and the 580. The 540 sports 480 horsepower, while the 580 has a more impressive 530 horsepower. Did you get those numbers confused yet? I think these base models get overshadowed by other cars in the game, but they still both maintain a presence that nearly always warrants an appreciative glance. The 540 is often seen as a beat-up variant, sported as an entry-level muscle car by mercs and gang members. The 580 can be found around the city with slick paint jobs and minor modifications, likely driven by gang captains or the occasional history-minded corpo. There are custom variants of the R7. The most iconic ones are the Chiaroscuro and the Vigilante. They both become available on AutoFixer, though the Chiaroscuro is locked behind a quest line for Muammar Reyes. Or is it Muammar Reyes? My bad if I got that wrong. The other variants of the R7 are the Sterling, which is obtained from Mr. Hands, and the Charon, which is initially used during the Phantom Liberty quest line but then becomes available for the player. At a standstill, the R7 seems to have a tame exhaust note, but once you start driving, you'll quickly realize that it's filled with crackles and burbles. I can't speak for anybody else, but I overlooked the R7 for quite a while. That being said, I've come around on it, and I think it's actually a great homage to the big body Dodges of the late 60s and early 70s. No other sports car has quite as heavy of a presence as this one in Night City. Oh, and I forgot to mention, it has an awesome classic muscle-inspired interior, especially the Chiaroscuro, which comes in bright red. At the beginning of the 21st century, American cities were flooded with Japanese sports cars. Reliable, fast, affordable. But the release of the Quadra Turbo R proved that the decline of the American automotive industry had been greatly exaggerated. The Turbo R instantly became a classic, a dream on four wheels. It stole the hearts of car lovers everywhere with its powerful engine, responsive handling, and badass vibes. But there was a downside. The Turbo R rode like a wild stallion, ready to buck unskilled drivers right out of the saddle. Only a real car jock could untap its potential. The Quadra Turbo R is undisputably the most iconic sports car in Night City. QUADRA Motors features homages to lots of real-world hero cars. Steve McQueen's Bullet, the Dukes of Hazzard's General Lee, Ken Block's Hoonicorn. The Type R, however, is Cyberpunk's hero car. It's always been marketed as the implied personal vehicle of the game's protagonist, V. Its instantly recognizable design practically defines Cyberpunk's retro-futuristic aesthetic. Its general silhouette, especially its massive rear haunches, quickly call to mind the lesser-known Italian-American sports car company Di Tommaso and their famous vehicle, the Pantera. This is an inspiration which the Cyberpunk wiki seems to completely miss. However, the wiki rightly mentions two undeniable influences: the Ferrari Testarossa and the Lamborghini Countach. The Testarossa can be credited for the Turbo R's stacked fin air intakes. You can also sense the presence of the sharp and angular design of the Lamborghini Countach, which was singular and revolutionary in car design at the time. The Turbo R was produced in Detroit in the NUSA in 2055 to 2074. There are two attainable variants in the game, the 740 and the VTEC. In-universe, the 2058 VTEC, which sported 740 horsepower, was touted as the most legendary American muscle car of all time, even surpassing the newer models in the eyes of car enthusiasts. The Turbo R features a completely unique interior with roof-mounted digital displays for the driver, bringing a completely new meaning to the term heads-up display. The aptly named VTEC notably features V's iconic bobblehead from their earlier Archer Hella sedan. It also features an additional center console display screen, camouflage accented seats, and a slightly more stripped down and lightweight look. One thing I appreciate is the actively changing gear selection display. Here's a brief comparison of both cars' exhaust notes at a standstill. The VTEC has a much faster revving engine thanks to its performance upgrades, possibly a lighter weight flywheel or other enhancements. And can I just highlight how cool these twin-turbo air filters are behind the exhaust tips? The Turbo R VTEC was implied to have a twin-turbo V10 when it was featured in the racing game Forza Horizon 4. Though in that game it only has 607 horsepower instead of 740, so the accuracy is a bit unclear. I think the Turbo R is actually reminiscent of the C8 generation Corvette, because it applies classic Italian mid-engine styling principles with American power. That being said, if you offered me both in real life, sorry Corvette owners. The Turbo R has become a symbol of V, of Night City, and of cyberpunk in general. It uses shapes that you don't really see anymore in present-day cars. Yet it still manages to look sleek, appealing, and, excuse my language, but wholeheartedly badass. It's like a beautiful mishmash of some of the unique automotive icons from the 70s and 80s. It's like a 10-gallon bowl of fettuccine alfredo. It perfectly combines Italian delicious flavor with complete American gluttony. Gluttony for horsepower. And when it's placed among its iconic brethren, it proves that QUADRA is the brand that defines Night City.